Jose there. What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
Hello, hello. How are we doing? Where are the rest of the boys here?
What?
Where are the rest of the boys here?
I don't hear you.
Where are the boys? Hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, they're coming.
They're coming? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because time-wise, I'm tight on time here.
Martin's there.
Good, how are you?
Mike, unreal stash, buddy. Unreal. That's a Movember to remember, buddy.
Hey, what's up, Vinny Barbarino?
That is a Movember to remember right there.
That's it. It has 9 days left. Take it right off. So not bad, right?
Yeah, it's solid. Solid.
Not too much grace. I'm okay.
Yeah. That looks good, buddy.
Where's yours there?
I know. I'm doing the no shave November. Somebody's like putting up the no shave. I'm like, all right, I'll do the no shave.
Yeah, I might go over the whole gasket.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll see. How you been?
Good, buddy. Good. It's the usual grinding away. Season's gone.
Now it works.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. I'm right there.
All right, boys, we'll get on, guys. So, Marty, the one thing, right, because of timing-wise, guys, once we get going, we'll jump in through some of the stuff here. JT, what's up? Dave, what's up? What's up, buddy? How you doing, boys? Owen, good to see you guys. All right, how many guys are we? How many more guys are we missing?
I think we're all here. Messengers not connected. You came out?
On est supposé être 15. Manque une personne. Oh, c'est Yoshi. C'est vrai.
There you go, boys. There you go.
What?
All right, boys. So let's see. I'm going to end up muting guys, right? And again, as always, if you need to jump in, just go. Unfortunately, guys, timing-wise, right, I can't end up we're kind of tight on time here, so I wanted to be able to jump in right into the session and knock out some stuff here to get going. So as guys come on, all good. They'll come on, they'll join. But moving into it, guys. So real quick, we see it okay, right, guys? Thumbs up. We see it okay? Yep, awesome. All right, just quick review. I am what I do, right? Identify, direct, own. Again, guys, we're working through it. It's going to take time, obviously, but we're working through it. We're getting there. All right, and the main thing is to keep this top of mind as much as we can. We know we have different struggles right now. We're going to get through it. But again, we talked about how simplicity plus consistency equals results the last time, right, of where it's tough, boys, of where mentally to get yourself to a place, right, we don't have, we're struggling where maybe not winning the games we want to, don't have as many players as we want, right? We're figuring out new culture, different things we're going through. So it takes time, right? So we keep building up, boys. We're going to get there. And again, we talk about our D-zone system and offensive zone system. And D-zone system, again, it's accepting what the situation is, becoming aware of what do I need to do to change it, right? Being accountable to what's my role inside of the team and what we're doing. And again, becoming adaptable throughout this process, right? And it's controlling what I can control. So again, we keep working through that process, boys. But again, ultimately, why we work through that, right? Why we work through being able to work through each one of the 4 A's and play our D-zone system is so we can create offensive zone system, right? So again, what are we putting our effort into? So once we identify those different parts, right, of understanding those different parts of the 4 A's, right, I accept my role, right? I become aware of my role. I become accountable to it. Great, right? All those different parts are important to adapting. But then once I adapt, then what am I going to put my effort into? Where's my attention going consistently, right? What repetition am I doing? What is noticeable? Because you can't fake it. And so those are the 2 big parts, guys, as we're going through that. Again, how often are we revisiting the language? We're going to keep going, right? We're going to keep it top of mind. We know different things we're working on. But one of the things, guys, talked to Coach about the other day we thought was important was start to look at an exercise that here's one, guys, that we utilize. This has been our professional players have used this, college, Division I, major, junior. Every level of player has used this exercise to help them mentally get through times of struggle, to help them mentally get through and become resilient in times where it might feel like things are impossible. So we thought today it'd be good to go over this with you guys because we know that there's certain parts that the grind can kind of start to feel a little bit, man, we only have a few lines. It can start to feel a little bit defeated, right? Injuries, all that stuff. It can start to feel a little bit awkward of how the season is going. And that's the biggest part, guys, that we wanted to go over today was to get you guys to recognize some things mentally, that it's easy to go to a place of negativity, of self-pity, right, of giving up when you don't have another way to look at it, right? Because, again, unconsciously, we can easily go to these places when you look at things and it seems like, well, this is just what the reality is. We don't have enough players, right? Don't want to get injured. That team has more than us. You know what? They've got 4 lines. What are we going to do? There's nothing we can do. So what the tripod exercise is designed to do, guys, is this. It's like, think of it like being an attorney, right, and building a court case. Think of it as you're going in and you have to prove to a judge, or let's say in school, you got in trouble, but you weren't involved in the trouble. So now you have to go tell the principal what it is and prove your case of why someone else should believe you, right? Wait, no, this isn't true, right? Beyond a reasonable doubt, here's how I know, here's the facts, here's what I can tell you. So what the tripod exercise is designed to do, guys, is do the same thing for us mentally. What are we doing mentally to take ourselves out of these positions that we put ourselves in when we don't intentionally look at it, right? Unconsciously, we're going to think certain things because of our past, the way things have gone. We can think certain things. It's normal. But consciously, what can I do to reveal the truth, right? What can I do to actually say, well, is this reality or is this something we can change? And so the tripod exercise, guys, is designed to do exactly what it is that when you go through it, it's about knocking out one of the legs, right? So just like a tripod stands on a camera and your vision, right? The tripod stands on where your mind is and what you're looking at, or just like a player, standing in a slot, right? If you could take away one leg or you could take away the stick, your tripod isn't as strong. And so that's the idea of the tripod exercise, guys, is to walk through it and be able to look at it and say, all right, well, let's bring reasonable doubt into the equation. Because mentally, we sometimes think, not for sure, that's it. How many times have we walked into a rink this season and saw the other team has a full squad and we think, oh, we have no chance, right? How many times have you walked into the rink this season and thought, that's it. Nobody's going to be looking at us today. We don't have enough guys, right? All these different parts. How many times have you walked into practice today and just say, you know what? I'm exhausted today. I'm just going to get out there and just do whatever I got to do just to survive. And that's it. Once it's done, it's done. How many times have you taken your mind to that place this year and given up and quit before the game started or before the practice started? And again, if you have, we're not judging you and we're not saying there's anything wrong with you. Because the reality is, boys, it's tough. It's tough to adjust to the new type of schedule, the culture, living, right? The amount of schoolwork you have. There's a lot of stuff that's going on that's on your plate. We're not sitting here saying, hey, we don't get it. We know you have a lot on your plate and we know it's really hard. So everyone's good with that, right? Everybody's fully aware that what you're going through is a lot of pressure and it's tough. But what we want to point out, though, is how you perceive the pressure, how you feel the heat. Do you enjoy it, right? Do you take it on and realize, yeah, I can get better? Or do I just sit there and go, you know what? Nah, the pressure sucks. This sucks. I can't do it. I can't get through it. Because, boys, that's the one thing we can tell you is this. If you came to this program thinking that I want to go major, junior, I want to go to college to come here. Well, the two places of the reason you came here, the two places you want to go, I can tell you right now, are going to have 10 times more pressure than what you're dealing with right now. They will have way more pressure at those levels than what you're dealing with right now. 100%. Why? Because everyone's better. You're dealing with everyone that knows how to deal with the pressure. You're dealing with everyone that knows how to play the game the right way at a high level. So if you sit there and you say in your mind, I want to play higher level, but I don't want to go through the different parts of what it takes to become a high level player, the two don't go hand in hand. They just don't work. So what the tripod exercise is going to help you guys do is mentally come back to a place and just think about this like a lawyer. Bring reasonable doubt into the equation. So limiting reflection statement, guys, is this. What do you think about mentally that might be stopping you from having a good performance? What do you think about? What have you thought about in the last couple of weeks, in the last month, that comes to mind that says, yeah, I've given up. I've said this maybe. Or maybe you haven't given up on yourself. Did you give up on a teammate? Did you give up on a teammate and say, he's never going to figure it out. He's brutal. Or did you give up on something coach says? Did you give up on something school related? I can't do it. I can't figure this out. What the limiting reflection statement is, guys, is this. It's basically saying to yourself that you're limiting yourself to what you're capable of doing. So as an example, I will never get the ice time I want. Right? Right now, obviously, if you're playing, you're getting plenty of ice time. But maybe at some point you said, I will never get on the power play. I will never get on the PK. I will never be on the first line. It all works the same way. Have you said those words to yourself in some way? Have you had a limiting reflection, limited, where I don't believe, I will never? Have you had that statement at some point in some way this season? Because the truth statement that you believe, your truth, right, is this. Well, I'm never going to get in the power play, PK, get the ice time I want, because I've tried. You know, I've tried asking coach before, and you know what? Coach doesn't care. I'm not getting any kind of feedback. So I've tried getting on that line, and I've tried to get on that unit, and it's just not going to happen. Or I'm not coach's favorite, so coach isn't going to put me on there. Right? Coach doesn't like me, so I'm not going to get out there, so it's just not going to happen. Maybe that's something you thought. Again, your truth, not the truth statement, your truth statement. Right? No matter how hard I work, it's not making any difference. You believe that no matter how much time you're putting in, you still suck. I'm never going to figure it out. You know what? It doesn't matter how hard I work. It doesn't matter. I had one of our players that's playing major junior, comes to me and says, started working on his shot. Goes into his weekend, doesn't score any goals with his shot that he's been working on. Frustrated. I don't understand why I didn't score. How long have you been working on the shot? Well, I worked on it all last week. 1 week. 1 week. Frustrated that he didn't score. So, truth statement for him was, no matter how hard I work, it's not making any difference. You worked on it for 1 week. How do you know it's not making a difference? You've only been together for a few months. How do you know the work you're putting in every single day is not going to make that difference in January and February? Hard to see. It's hard to see, boys. Again, we know it's hard to see. But what we're trying to bring mentally, awareness, right? Awareness of my defense, is that your truth doesn't necessarily mean that it is the truth. It's your reality. It's what you think. But if you think in that way, you're limiting yourself. You're limiting yourself to growth. You're limiting yourself to get better that day. Maybe you don't think of it every day, but that day, that game, that practice that you went in thinking that way, you limited yourself and you lost an opportunity to grow and get better. And so the tripod exercise is designed for this, guys. It's for you guys to look at it and go, all right, well, I've tried before. Okay. You know what, though? Counter statement. Can you counter what you said is your truth? Yeah, I've tried before. It doesn't matter. But what can you counter that with mentally? What can you think about to argue the truth that you believe is the truth? Well, truly, you know what? I wasn't that consistent. I've tried, but I kind of try sometimes. You know what? The truth is, I'm really not that consistent. You know what? I know I don't try as hard as I could at practice. You know what? In that last game, I didn't try as hard as I could. I really wasn't consistent. That's the truth. I can counter that because I'm aware, you know what? If I really accountable, look at myself and my behavior, well, I wasn't that consistent. So I really don't know yet. If I want to get more ice time, have I really tried as hard as I can? Okay. Knock the leg off. How about I'm not coach's favorite? That's one of my favorites. I love hearing that crap all the time from players. And again, it is crap because coaches don't get into it to screw players. That's it. And I can tell you right now, the coaches that you have are not at all in that category, not even one bit. But I know odds are one of you has had this thought at some point. One of you has had this thought at some point in some way. Because again, unconsciously where you came from, the history, the residue of when we grew up in the game, the culture, you might believe that because maybe you went through that before. And that belief is there. But the counter statement is simple. I really have no idea if coach likes me or not because I never spoke to coach about it. How many times I've seen that one? Well, did you talk to coach? No. So then how do you know what coach is thinking? How do you know what coach wants from you if you never went and talked to coach about the very thing that you're upset about? I'm never going to get the ice time I want. Have you asked coach of what you need to do to get better? No, coach doesn't care. Coach has favorites. We've seen this many different ways through the years. Again, this might not be a this year thing, but think about how in the past maybe you've sabotaged yourself because of this very thought that you came up with. Not coach, not me, not anyone else on the team, but you. You come up with the thought. It's your truth. But if you think about it and you counter it, well, you know what? I really don't know. I have any idea because I really didn't do anything to go find out. I never actually spoke to coach to find out. Or maybe I'm not working on the right things. I have to research to find out because no matter how hard I work, you know what? No matter how hard I work, it's not making a difference. But maybe I'm not working on the right things. Boys, I can't tell you how many times I've had players through the years, right? The example of the player just now wasn't able to score goals. I don't get it. What did this player discover? Is this player kept trying to shoot the puck up high all the time. So what this player did was decided, I'm going to start to shoot. And I've been telling this player this for years. But finally, this player decided, I'm going to start to shoot the puck 6 to 12 inches, 10 inches, inside post, just above the goalie's pad, just below the blocker. Made that conscious decision. I'm going to start doing it. Every shot I take, that's what I'm going to do in practice from now on. Started doing it in practice and started scoring way more in practice. What's up, buddy? What do we got? Gabe, what do we got? What'd he say? Gabe, what'd he say? What's he got? What do we got? I saw you guys were talking about something. What do you got? Answer your question.
Yeah, we were kind of just talking about when he was going to play tomorrow.
You guys were talking about when you're going to play tomorrow?
Well, he's playing tomorrow.
Where he's playing tomorrow? Okay, cool. Right now is not the time to talk about that.
Okay.
This is precisely, boys, where when we say it's someone else's fault, it never is. It never is. Because that's exactly the moments of concentration. That's exactly the moments you miss out on to get better because your mind is elsewhere instead of zoned in on, well, wait a second. Am I shooting the puck 10 inches above the ice? Because now when I did it in practice, I saw that it worked. And so for this player realized by concentrating on shooting that puck 6 to 12 inches, 10 inches inside post, started doing it consistently in practice. Next thing you know, he's scoring all the time. But he's not scoring in the game yet. But he's scoring in practice way more than he did before. So now he's working on the right things. And now it's going to take him time. But mark my words, in 3 to 4 weeks from now, he'll start scoring in the game. Because that's the way it works. Practice versus game. Versus, am I doing the right things? So you ask yourselves, again, as we move along, am I practicing the right things? Maybe I'm shooting and stick handling all the time. But is that shot I'm working on helping me in the game? Is that stick handling a move I'm working on helping me in the game? Do I use it in the game? Do I know what I need to work on? Because these limiting reflection statements all happen fundamentally because players believe in certain truths, right? As an example, I know for a fact, right, because the odds are in favor with this, that there's 1 or 2 guys that don't believe in any of this stuff on the team. They don't believe this works. This is a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. No problem. You're limiting yourself because I know, as well as many other players out there that not just work with me, but with others, and players on this team who I know have seen differences already, that it works. But if I don't shoot the right way, if I don't stick handle the right way, the way that means something for the way I play in the game, then nothing works in my mind. The same exact way. Limiting reflection statement. Maybe you believe we suck. Why do you believe that? Because we lose games. We get embarrassed by good teams. We don't have enough guys who really care. Maybe that's your truth. Right? That's your, yeah, we lose games. Okay. Fair enough. We get embarrassed by good teams. Well, you got embarrassed. Okay. Doesn't mean that other players aren't trying to figure out, well, we got embarrassed, but we got to figure out how to be better. So it's your choice of how to handle the embarrassment. Either A, I get better, or B, I get bitter. That's the choice that I have. But that's the truth. But your truth doesn't mean that's the actual team's truth. We don't have enough guys who really care. Okay? We lose games. Counter statement. How can you counter it? How can you look at that differently than maybe what you believed was the initial truth? Honestly, if we stuck to our game plan, we could have won a few more games. Is that true? Right? If we stuck to our game plan, we could have won a few more games. So even though you might think we suck because we lose games, well, the truth is, yeah, but we didn't consistently stick to our game plan. So we could have had a few more wins there if we would have stuck to the game plan. Right? Players are already shaking their heads and no, yeah, we get embarrassed by good teams. Well, what if we didn't go in thinking we are already beat? Could we have had already a better chance to compete? Could we have done better if we didn't go in thinking we already lost? Is that a possibility? Yeah, 100% it is. But if you go in already thinking it's over, remember, I am strong, I am weak. Language. If I already think we're going in, me, I'm a part of 20 mindset, 20 other players, right? Or 13 other players, 14. It doesn't matter. I'm a part of the group that's about to go out on that ice. And if I'm the one mind that thinks we lost, one poison apple. Now what if we have two? That's going to affect the rest of the bunch. We don't have enough guys who really care. Well, how much am I really doing to show how much I care for the success of our family? How much am I doing? Don't worry about that other guys don't care. It doesn't matter that you sitting there worrying about somebody else has nothing to do with the fact that, well, what about you? What can you do better to help? How much do you care? Do you care enough to go talk to the guys that maybe you think don't and say, hey, man, I know it's hard. How can I help you out? What can I do to help you? Because I know that if I help you, our team becomes stronger. What can I do? Instead of blaming somebody else and instead of thinking that we suck, well, what can I do so we don't suck? If everybody thought about it that way, guess what? We wouldn't suck. It's as simple as that. But getting there, boys, takes time. That's why this exercise is so important. Right? Another example. We can't beat this team. They have 4 lines. What would the truth statement be, boys? What's going in? What is sometimes that you feel is the truth? Your truth. What is sometimes that you think is a statement that guys on the team will make? Put in the chat. What's a statement that you think that sometimes we'll use and we'll make? What are the things that sometimes you might say that could be what you feel is the truth at that time? What's a statement that you could make that's the truth at that time? We can't beat this team. Why do you think that? Why do you think that? Just give one. Give one example in the chat, what's one example? We got anyone, guys? Nothing? We got any? Let's see. Some examples. They have a lot more energy than us. We won't be able to keep up with the team. Beautiful. Yep. Anything else, boys? Those are great truth statements. Yep. Right up, right? Right up, juniors, college, NHL, player, negative thinking. I can tell you for a fact, boys, negative thinking exists in the pro game. Maybe they are more ready than us. Yep. That's a great one. Love that one. Yep. All great ones, guys, right? They have more bodies. Yep. These are all solid ones. They'll take advantage of us because we're two lines. Yep. They have the advantage from the start when we see they're more than us and we start doubting. Yep. Awesome. Right? Now, based off of what you guys just wrote, right? So give me a second here, boys. So now, based off of what you guys just wrote, okay, let's look at it. And how can we counter it? Right? How can we counter those statements of what we just thought? Right? So take a look at these. So you look at them, boys, and the exercise is simple. Right? We see that okay? Thumbs up. Right? So negative thinking. Maybe they're more ready than us, right? They'll take advantage of us because we're two lines. They have more bodies. They have the advantage from the start when we see. So now, boys, now let's put in counter statements. Well, how can you counter what you guys just wrote? How can you counter negative thinking? What can you do to counter, in your mind, negative thinking? What can you do to counter maybe they are more ready than us? Right? Do we know they're more ready than us? How do we know that? Do we know this team? Are we in their locker room? All right, we got counters, play our game. They adapt to us, go play our game and see what happens. By wanting it more than them, we have nothing to lose, which makes us more dangerous. Be focused the second we get to the arena. Okay. Maybe they will be too confident and underestimate us. Bingo. That's a counter statement. Excellent, Anthony. That's a counter statement. Maybe they'll be too confident and underestimate us. Yeah, that's a possibility. Right? And by you thinking that way, or by us thinking that way, it instantly makes you more excited to play. But that's a counter statement, boys. Right? The other ones are more, we're leading towards it. Again, where we want to do is we want to counter it like the way Anthony, what he just brought up. You want to be able to think of it as, well, how do I know for sure that this might not be the truth? How else could I think about it? Right? Again, negative thinking. Like we said, they'll take advantage of us because we're two lines. How do we know that? How do we know they're going to take advantage of us because we're two lines? What proof do we have? What proof do we have they're going to be able to do that? Right? They have more bodies. Yeah, but what if all their bodies suck? What if all their bodies were partying freaking for the last couple days and doing stupid crap, and they're exhausted. How do we know because they have more bodies, that means that equates to better? Proof. How do we know that? Where's the proof? And so that's the difference, guys, between what do you think is the truth versus, well, how do we know? How do we know? How do we know what you're thinking is reality? And that's what you want to challenge. Right? That's what you want to challenge. Is understanding and thinking about it. How do I know this is the truth? So what we'll do, guys, is this. We'll take this, right? I'll put this up, right? I'll put it up as an example. And all you're going to do is you're going to create one of these, okay? You're just going to take, literally, boys, all I want you to do is take this sheet, write on it, right? You can either print it out or you can just use, I know you guys know how to use text, write on, take a picture of it, write on it right in here. And we want you guys to go through this exercise for yourself. What's something that maybe you said is a limiting reflection statement to yourself that you said at some point about your game, about the team, right? About any belief you had, about maybe coach, anything, right? Think about anything that you feel, you know what, that's limiting. And it could even be school related. It can be family related. You can do it any which way you want. And we want you to go through the exercise the same way. Limiting, right? What was limiting? And then what's your truth about it? Why do you believe that statement? Why do you believe that statement is the truth? Right? Why is that reality? And then we want you to go, well, how do you know that's the truth? How do you know? So truth is why I believe, and counter is how do I know that's the truth? And if we have any questions, we'll ask in the group. We'll post it up, boys, and that'll be the challenges for this week. I know with the journaling right now, we're gonna put back up and make sure we still have a handful of guys that have not completed the gap control exercise. That's okay. Let's make sure we're gonna get that done. We're gonna post it up. And then create your own tripod and post it up in the group. So, boys, that's the accountability. Is we're gonna write it out, and then you're gonna create, and you're just gonna take a picture of it, screenshot it, and post it up in the WhatsApp group. What's your limiting reflection statement? Again, you can pick one. The truth, why you believe this is the truth, and counter. How do I know that's the truth? Any questions, boys? Does it make sense? Can you guys see how this is affecting, how this could be affecting our progress to be able to move forward? Can you guys see how we're limiting ourselves and stopping ourselves from maximizing, right, the day-to-day with everything we have? Let me tell you something. Youth teams would kill to have as much practice, as much training as you guys get, as much opportunity as you guys get. Youth teams galore would kill to have this. Don't forget it. And again, we have to just work through this stuff. That's all. We have to work through it. But you have to work through it mentally of what's the truth, your truth, versus the actual opportunity that I have in front of me. Every single day, boys. So we'll go through this exercise. You have any questions? Let me know. But let's all commit, do this exercise, and let's see what pops up. We'll go from there. Any questions, boys? Anything? Coach, any thoughts? Coach, any thoughts? Anything, boys?
Nope, really. The microphone doesn't work. I don't know if you can.
All good. I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So no, I have no questions. That's
Cool. All right, boys. You need anything, let me know. And again, let's go through the exercise and let's just see where we're at. And it'll be interesting to see how everybody's limiting statement will be very interesting to see, boys, so we can see it all, right? And see what are guys thinking. And we can build from there. Sound good, boys?
Yes.
Cool.
Thanks, Vince.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right.
See you, boys.
Yep.
See ya.